Gentlemen, he said, this world of ours has gone sour. We've got to get out of here quick. But first we must find a new world, a better one. That's your job, men, so get going.
Right there, Chief.
Barked the men, and within 15 minutes they were at the spaceport aboard their spaceships. Then the men took off in 3 directions, and in seconds they were zooming about in outer space at 7,000 miles an hour. Days passed with no word from the outer spacemen. After waiting a week, the world chief flew into a rage.
Blast it all!
He bellowed.
What's keeping those blithering bubbleheads?
Then one Monday morning, out of the dark, smudgy sky swooshed one of the spaceships. As the ship touched down, the man hopped out shouting,
I've done it! I've done it! I've found a new world! A bigger and better world! Nice going, lad!
Cried the world chief, and the crowd gathered at the spaceport to give their hero one great rousing cheer, which ended in a fit of sneezing. In no time, the great news was sent flashing around the world over radio and TV, warning all pollutions to be packed and ready to go within 24 hours. At dawn the next day, the entire population swarmed into the Space Center and crowded aboard the giant spaceships. The world chief gave the signal for blastoff. With a thunderous roar, the giant ships shot off the ground. Kazoom! Up and away through the smoke-blackened sky, and were gone. And at long last, peace and quiet settled over the Wump World. The sudden silence came as a shock to the Wumps. They could hardly believe their ears. Still, they wanted to take no chances, and so they remained in their caverns with ears cocked for the slightest sound. After a long, long silence, they decided it was time to go, and, led by the biggest Wump, they crept up the tunnel to the cave entrance to find it covered by a crust of cement. With one powerful push of his snout, the biggest Wump bumped his way through. Then, one by one, the Wumps waddled out onto a freeway and gaped in wide-eyed amazement. They had feared something awful was happening to their world, but this was much more than they could have imagined. There was no sign of any tree or tuft of grass. Even the sky was gone, and the Wumps wondered if there was anything left for them. At least they must find out. They wandered the freeways for miles, only to find more and more buildings with endless heaps of wreckage and rubble. For all they could see, their world was completely ruined. Footsore and weary, the Wumps were about to give up and head back for their cave when the biggest Wump let out a joyful whoop. Just ahead of them was a grassy meadow with a clump of bumbershoot trees, all that was left of their lovely world. Whoop, whooping for joy, the Wumps went bounding off the freeway out onto the meadow. Pretty soon the hungry Wumps were munching away on the tall, tender grass. Now there was new hope for the Wumps. In time, the murky skies would clear up and the rains would wash the scum from rivers and lakes. The tall buildings would come tumbling down and the freeways would crumble away. And in time, the green growth would wind its way up through the rubble. But the Wump world would never be quite the same.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our 2 stories, Picker McClicker, the rest of the story, and The Wump World by Bill Peet. Let's thank Books A Million for all their help and their wonderful stories. And stay tuned next time. Keep reading.